Hello, welcome to this Trini. I'm Keisha, and today I'll be breaking down some of the most important features you should be looking at when purchasing a laptop for the non-tech savvy. The virtual school term has started, and while this video may be a bit late, I know it's still important and relevant as some persons are still in the market looking for a laptop or a desktop to purchase. I'll start by saying a laptop is not a laptop. Each laptop has different specifications. So in the video, I'll be covering the 4 most important features you should be looking or paying particular attention to when selecting a laptop. I'll also share the minimum requirements you should be looking for when purchasing a laptop for students. And I know sometimes you might have the information and then it's still confusing, because if you, let's say, you go on the internet, you go to Amazon to purchase a laptop, it's like, you probably forget everything you heard. So I will also be sharing links to some affordable laptops that meet the specifications that I will be mentioning today. The 4 most important things that you should be looking for when choosing a laptop is 1, the operating system, 2, the processor, 3, RAM being random access memory, and 4, storage or the hard drive. And of course, I'll be breaking down these things for you. What is the operating system? Persons will be familiar with the Windows operating system, as it's the most common and widely used operating system. Then you also have the Mac OS. You would see that the interface is a bit different. And then we also have the Chrome OS, which is basically from Google. So they came up with their own operating system that they put on laptops that is mainly web-based. So the 3 main operating systems you may come across is Windows, Mac, and Chrome. The operating system I would recommend persons get is the Windows operating system. Why? It's because 1, it's the most common, 2, it's very user-friendly for the beginner. Next, we talk about the processor. So what is the processor? What is that even? The processor is basically the brains behind the computer. For example, you'll be using Microsoft Word, you'll be using PowerPoint, you'll be using Zoom. It's how fast the computer could let these applications run. For the processor, computers mainly have either Intel or AMD processors, those being the 2 main manufacturers for processor chips used in computers. The Intel, you have the Celeron, you have the Pentium, you have the i3, i5, i7, i9. Recommendations: if you see Intel Celeron, ignore that. Ignore it. That processor, like, it doesn't make sense. The Pentium is a good entry level, but i3s and i5s, I think you could still get those in a good price range. I would have come across a post on Facebook that did a really good breakdown of the comparisons between the Intel chips and the AMD chips. I'm not too familiar with the AMD chips, but I can say that it provides just as good as a quality as the Intel chips, but for a lower price. So you don't necessarily have to buy a computer with an Intel chip, being people may say it's the best. The AMD chips also provide just as good quality for a lower price. So now I'm talking and I'm like, I'm supposed to be making this easier, but it's still sounding technical. So what I will also want to do is probably I'll do a little screen recording of how this information would look when you're looking at a computer online and how you would see this information showing up. Next, we have RAM. What is RAM? RAM is random access memory. What is a random access memory? Random access memory is where the computer stores information before it is executed. So it's like a queue, you know? So going back to when you want to open Microsoft Word, because of course There are things that goes on behind the scene that of course we are not going to know about, but like programmers, people who did those types of things would know all the ones and zeros that has to run behind to execute certain programs. So when you click open Microsoft Word and in 2 seconds it opens, or in 5 minutes it opens, it is being processed through RAM. It's kind of like the middleman between the computer and the screen that you're seeing. Random access memory is important because let's say you have 4 applications open. You don't want it to be running slow because it doesn't have enough memory to store the data that needs to be stored before it's executed. So RAM is important. A minimum of 4 gigs of RAM is recommended for any entry-level computer. While 4 gigs is the recommended amount, 8 gigs is even better. Then we have storage. Just like anything, so you have cupboards in your house so that you could store things. Think of storage just like that. So a computer, you need storage to store your files. So if you create a document, let's say you create a resume, let's say you create your homework assignment, you need the files to be stored on the computer. So that is the storage that you have on the computer. And it's recommended at least a minimum of 128 gigs of memory on the computer, because you also have that memory also accounts for any applications that you download that is also stored on the computer, which picks up storage. When you think of laptops, the first brands, now we talk about brands. So thinking of the brands of laptops, there are certain brands, I guess, that are most common that may come to the average person's mind, being Dell, being HP, being Apple. However, there are other brands of laptops such as Asus, Acer, Lenovo, Samsung, Microsoft, and then there are some specialty laptops kind of like for gaming. You have the MSI, you have the Razer, or Huawei. Huawei also has laptops. So you have a wide range of laptops which come with any combination of those specifications that I just mentioned. You can have different brands of laptops with the same specifications or any mix of specifications that I mentioned. And as you have different brands of laptops, you have different models, and then you have different specifications under those models. My recommendation is Windows operating system, and you're looking for Windows 10, at least Intel Pentium processor, 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. So those are basically my main tips in terms of what you should be looking for. And as I mentioned, I would be linking various laptops below, so you can choose, and those laptops range from $400 US to about $500 US, which puts you on a spectrum of about 2500 TT to 3500 TT. And as you all may know, the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago recently removed the taxes for the importation of laptops, tablets, and devices of that nature. So you no longer have to pay the 7% online tax, nor the regular importation taxes. So that would reduce the cost of bringing in a laptop a little more. If you made it through the video, I hope you feel a little more comfortable purchasing a laptop for yourself. But I also want to cover some other things that's kind of important. So I know, again, some people may think a laptop is a laptop, and of course children may think that as well. So another thing to consider is that your sons, your daughters may think, hey, they have a laptop now, they could run Fortnite, they could run Call of Duty, they could run Halo, and it cannot. Those entry-level computers are definitely not made to do any sort of heavy gaming. Another feature that will impact the ability to play games on a laptop is basically the graphics card, which comes like another type of processor to process the graphics in particular. Usually laptops would come with an integrated graphics card, which would have you get all the visuals you can watch movies, everything will be fine. However, the types of graphics that a game is required to run, you're not going to get it. So I know it's going to be difficult to monitor if your children try to download any games, because sometimes the children are the ones teaching us how to use Zoom for our online meetings. So they're the more tech savvy ones, and monitoring them on the computer may be a bit difficult. Greeted by all these options and you're confused, you don't know where to start, you're seeing expensive prices and you may just click on the cheapest price, but based on the recommendations we know that's not what you should do. So to make it a bit easier, on the left hand side you can filter by the different specifications I gave, being RAM, being by the processor type, as well as by the operating system. Then it will filter the laptops, but even when filtering your laptops, you're seeing all these words and it's just like, what does this mean? It's confusing. So I'll click on one of the laptops and just show you how to read these features, or what do these words mean based on what you just learned. So we clicked on this laptop and it says Asus VivoBook. So the brand is Asus, the model being a VivoBook, and it says 15, meaning it's a 15-inch laptop. And then as you go on to read further, it just describes the laptop, saying it's a thin and light laptop, and then they say it's a 15.6 inch. Then they give you the type of processor, and we see the processor is the Intel i3 processor. Then we see the RAM. It has 8 gigs of RAM, and we know that's good. We also see that there is 128 gigs of storage, being an SSD, the solid state drive, which is the type of drive that we would want. Then we see some additional descriptions mentioning it's a backlit keyboard, meaning that in the dark, the laptop will have light behind the keyboard, so you'll be able to see the keys if you know you have to work in the dark for any particular reason. Then we also see fingerprint, meaning that it has a fingerprint technology to lock the laptop. Then we see Windows 10 being the operating system that the laptop will come with, and we have the color being slate gray, and then the numbers to the end would be the model number. So if I clicked on another laptop, the information would be the same. So if it's a HP NV 14-inch laptop with Intel Pentium, 4 gigs of RAM, 120 gigs of storage as an SSD, you would see all that information listed just as it is here. We have come to the end of the tips. I hope that you are all the more informed. If it is you learned something, if you feel you know something a bit more about computers now, hit the like button. If it is you know that there's someone who is in the market to purchase a laptop and they're not too sure what to purchase, share the video with them. There are links below to make it a bit easier, so you have some good recommendations. If any of those laptops are still out of the price range, feel free to message me. I could probably see if I find anything at a lower price that I could share with persons if that's out of your price range. I also want to say that we have a lot of students within Trinidad and Tobago who still do not have the resources to attend virtual school, and although you may not be able to donate an entire laptop to a student, you can pull together your resources with some of the alumni from your secondary school, from your primary school, to have at least 1 or 2 more children with laptops in their hands. And I don't want to sound like a political party, laptops to everybody, but we could lend a helping hand. Alumni from my high school, Bishop Angsty, Trinity College East, we followed suit from one of our colleagues, Kiri. For his birthday, he donated a laptop to a student, and I think it motivated some of my friends and I to kind of see what we could do. So we pulled together some resources and we were able to purchase 2 laptops to give to 2 students who are in need. and you can speak to, if you're still in contact with any of your teachers, the principals, because of course the teachers would know the students who are in need, or will be able to identify the students who are in need. So see how you can support the younger generation growing up. This is a very interesting, a very difficult time, but we can assist where we can, if you can. So again, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something about purchasing laptops. If it is you'll want me to do another video speaking about other things in detail, comment below, let me know.